All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Kari Rizak. I'm a PGY2 at the University of New Mexico. I want to start by just saying thank you so much, PM&R scholars, for everything that you've done for both the programs and the medical students. We can't wait to see what else you have in store for us. And then for everybody joining, I see a lot of familiar faces from our social media. So thank you so much for joining. We're so thrilled to talk to you. We're so excited. And we actually have a big team here because we were so excited. So we got our army here that I'd like to introduce, but I'll introduce the program first. So we are the University of New Mexico. We are located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we are a new program. But let me introduce some of our front runners in our new program. So we will start with Dr. Lawrence Horm, our program director. So he is our fearless leader, and shortly after that is Rebecca Dutton, who will soon be our program director as well.
Guys, thank you so much for joining and hopefully for your interest in University of New Mexico. I think it's a really awesome program. And we want to give you an opportunity to ask questions and learn a little bit more about it tonight.
Absolutely. So now let me go down to Dr. Nancy Cutter. I think she's over here.
I am. So I'm a rehab doc, fairly new to New Mexico, definitely new to University of New Mexico, and I think this is a great program, growing, full of lots of energy and lots of ideas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cutter. And we also have Dr. Wallace Gladden here.
Hi, how's it going? Nice to meet everybody. Welcome to our presentation. I love this UNM rehab program. It's an awesome program. I'm very excited that I got a chance to actually be a part of it. If you want to be a part of it too, feel free to ask us any questions that you have.
Thank you, Dr. Gladden. I'd like to now introduce Diana Monahan, who is our program coordinator, who does a lot of stuff for us. And with her introduction, I will say, I'm going to drop a Google Drive with our infographic, and her information will be down there unless if you have any questions after this program, okay?
Don't hesitate to email, guys. Any questions you have, if I can't answer them, I will connect you with a resident that can.
Thank you so much, Diana. Now I'd like to introduce some of our residents. So we'll start with some PGY2, so the same year as I am. So we have Dr. Andrew Becker.
Hey everyone, I'm Andy. I moved here from Chicago last year, I guess 2 years ago now. I did school at Rosalind Franklin in Chicago, and I'm loving New Mexico so far.
Awesome. So the next PGY2 we have up is Dr. Aruba Ahmed.
Hi everyone, I'm Aruba. I'm from California. I went to school in Toro, Nevada, and I am excited to be here. I just started my spinal cord injury rotation.
Thank you so much, Aruba. The next PGY2 in line is Kobe Lanclo.
Hey y'all, I'm Kobe. I'm from Arnaville, Louisiana. I went to LSU Shreveport, and I am loving it here in New Mexico.
Thank you, Kobe. Let's see. That rounds out our PGY2s for today. So we'll move on to our PGY3s. We have Reza Esanian.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm a PGY3. Grew up in California, fell in love with UNM and New Mexico. Went to Stanford, have an interest in interventional pain and spine.
Thank you so much, Reza. Chris Burton, I think you're on here as well.
Hey guys, my name is Chris Burton. I'm a PGY3 here at UNM. Excited to be here and excited that we're able to give you guys a little bit more info about our program. Originally from Fort Worth, Texas. I went to school at TCOM, which is one of the osteopathic schools over there. And I absolutely love Albuquerque. So hope you guys enjoy it.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And we'll round it out with last but not least, Dr. Joe Parks.
Hi, I'm Joe Parks. I'm one of the PGY3s. I'm originally from Naperville, Illinois. Went to med school at Michigan State University's osteopathic medical school. Did my surgery internship out in Chicago, and I was a former Air Force flight doc prior to coming here for PM&R. Have similar interests as Reza does in terms of like interventional pain and MSK.
Very cool, Joe. Thank you so much, everyone, again for coming. I want to just kind of go back to the infographic I put in the chat box there. If everybody could just take a look at that. It's a brief overview of our program. If you see on the bottom there, we are having another session for a meet and greet that will be longer on Thursday. So if we don't answer your questions today, please, please, please go to that Zoom meeting on Thursday. And again, if you have any questions, Diana is more than willing to answer them or get them to the right person. And her information is on there as well. But without further ado, we wanted to make sure that we got more interaction with you all because it is so limited with COVID-19. So our little army would like to meet the rest of you. So we want to open this all up to questions for you all. But before we open it up to questions, I do want to get through one little note is that this year we will be accepting 4 interns, so 4 PGY1s and 1 PGY2. So that's a little new update that I wanted you all to know. But other than that, let's open it up to questions. We're excited to talk with you all.
I have a question. Dr. Burton, how many injections did you do this year? Axial fluoroscopic guided injections.
Great question, Dr. Sanyan. That's one of the things I do like about our program is that it's extremely hands-on with all different kinds of procedures. I personally, once I update the last couple weeks, have done almost about 250 axial injections. So we get a lot of hands-on training with that. And all of our faculty is really good about, you know, once they feel comfortable with you, you know, letting you just hit the ground running and be really hands-on.
I'm a close second. And when Chris says he's done close to 250, that's him pushing the needle, the attending being hands-off, standing behind us. And we also have an opportunity to do spinal cord stimulator trials, pumps through anesthesia, and the faculty is really, really supportive in setting up our schedules in order to be able to meet the demands of applying for fellowship. So just if anyone's interested in pain or interventional spine, that's something that's very unique to our program. We have no fellows ahead of us right now. So it's just us doing all the procedures.
Absolutely.
And just a reminder, PM&R is more than spine interventions. And there's lots of other opportunities as well. Thank you, Reza.
So I saw we had a question in the chat about what activities we like to do in Albuquerque. So before learning anything about Albuquerque, I, for some reason, thought of the desert, probably because of the Bugs Bunny, you know, should have took a left turn in Albuquerque stuff. But I personally think that New Mexico is like the hidden gem of the United States. You know, everyone knows like Alaska, Colorado, but until I came here, I didn't realize how crazy diverse this terrain is. There's of course there's some desert, but there's mountains, there's lakes, there's pretty much everything. And you can, if you can think of it, you can do it here in New Mexico, and Albuquerque's right in the center, so it's just a short drive away.
There's a couple of other chat questions, and the answer to Jack is yes, we have an official mentorship program. And we'll let the residents talk to Sarah about how responsive the program is to resident feedback. So why doesn't somebody talk about that?
Andy, do you want to talk about this one?
I'm happy to talk about it.
Okay.
So pretty much all of our faculty, our program director, Dr. Horn especially, like are around pretty much 24/7 by phone, in person. Like they're probably the most approachable attendings I've worked with. So they've been responsive to feedback, especially being a new program. They've made appropriate changes, and everyone's very receptive to trying to make improvements on the new program and make it a better place and a better learning environment for everyone.
I have to agree too. I think it creates an opportunity, a really great opportunity for listening in places that I feel like some other places may not. And because they're listening so much closer to our concerns and our questions, I feel like the program is so adaptable, and it just progresses in a way that I just think is really quite rapid. And it's really great to be a part of.
As far as leadership opportunities, somebody asked about leadership opportunities and mentorship. I think we addressed the mentorship. We have a big brother, big sis. And for leadership opportunities, the program's really supportive with you getting involved in different societies like SIS, PM&R, AAP, and getting on the leadership or the committees there that steer how PM&R is run.
Yeah, to that end, I would highlight, even as a new program last year, we had, and residents, you might need to correct me if I'm wrong on these numbers, but we had at least 3 that I remember off the top of my head, maybe 4 out of our 5 residents attend AAP. And there is some financial support for that, and all of them were involved in various levels of presenting and being involved in various leadership opportunities through AAP there. And then at PM&R, similarly, we had, Reza, you're gonna have to help me with the numbers. Again, I think we had at least 3, I know we had at least 3 that were presenting and or involved in various leadership committees there.
Right, the program's been very supportive in letting multiple residents go to conferences. And I know at some programs that's been maybe an issue from friends that I've talked to. But if you have a podium presentation or a poster presentation, or if you're involved in a committee, everyone's been great in letting us go. And the great thing about our attendings are they're, it's a new program, so everyone's very self-sufficient.
And I think we had a question on diversity that I'd like Aruba to answer.
Yeah, so we have great diversity in the patient's background. So one thing that's really interesting that I've seen here especially is Native American population. At the UNM hospital, there's such a number of the Native American patients that come in, so that they have at least 2 Navajo interpreters of the hospital at all times. But outside of that, there's a diversity in ethnic backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, and also there's, I just finished 10 weeks of inpatient rehab, and there's a great diversity in the types of patients that we're seeing. So we're not just seeing the same standard patient, they come with different types of etiologies that we're managing as well.
I'll add on to that as well. We're also associated with the only level 1 trauma center in New Mexico. So, that adds on to the diversity of the pathologies, that you see, the traumas that you can see, and we also have patients coming from like even Colorado and West Texas, to our rehab facility. So, people do travel to get here, and or they're transported from where they're coming from, and then we get good pathology from the trauma center.
There is a question about the personal statement. Is it okay to go to a second page? Also, being a relatively new program, can you talk a little bit about how responsive you are to resident feedback?
Well, I think we already talked about feedback. We talked about feedback, and I think you guys already did. You can talk more about it. And in terms of, you can have a second page. You can have it distinct. but we're mostly interested in given the volume of applications, why you're interested in this particular program, because it's still relatively fresh, what you're going to bring to it, and what your interests might be besides the standard stuff in your personal statement.
You guys have
So
5 minutes.
we answer the question.
Thank you.
And then I did see another question about, can you talk about any volunteer or community outreach activities you have? And I can speak a little bit to this. So speaking of also mentorship, Dr. Dutton is my mentor, and I came to her with essentially the same question. And not only did she have volunteer and community outreach like programs for me, but specific to my interests, and said, hey, you need to figure out what your interests are, because there's so many, like, let's figure out what works best for you, what gets you excited about the program and what you're doing. So I've been thrilled in terms of what are available for volunteer and community outreach. Obviously, being mindful of COVID-19, some things have changed, but I think overall there's a lot to do in a community that needs a lot of volunteering.
Yeah, I would add to that this is an exciting place to be if you want to leave a little bit of your own mark on PM&R, both in terms of a residency program. Obviously, being part of a new residency program, it's an opportunity to really contribute something to a growing and a new environment. But in addition to that, there is tremendous need for rehab providers here in the state of New Mexico. And so there's a lot of opportunity for you to really be a leader in that, and develop some of your own kind of ideas and outreach and things to really help the community here. So it's a kind of an exciting place in that way if you are somebody that likes being part of something new and building something new.
Absolutely. And I think we have one more question here. It says, what makes someone a good fit for your program?
Well, I'll start that one. So I think parlaying off of the last response, I think honestly being somebody who can be a little bit adaptable and somebody who really likes taking initiative and being part of something new and building something new. If that excites you, this is a good place for you, for sure, because it's an exciting place that way. There is a lot developing and growing and new for us. And we want somebody that is interested in being part of that. Dr. Horn?
Ditto. Yeah, I mean, we're still working through some things. So you have to have some element of tolerance too. But there's a lot of very exciting opportunities in this residency. I've come from a few back east that are a little bit older and more established, and they have their issues too. They're different, but I think so far everything's been great because the faculty and the residents have all know we're all on this boat together, and there's a lot of good faith efforts to make everything better for the future, for everybody that's here and everybody that's going to be here.
You guys have about 1.5 minutes left.
Awesome. So just kind of reiterate, we are having our second Zoom session. It is on the bottom of the infographic there. So feel free to join us there. We'll have a longer presentation describing more of the details specifically of our program, with more time to ask questions and maybe more time to think about questions as well. We'd love to have you there. We'd love to see you and communicate with you there. And we're so excited that we had the opportunity to talk with you all tonight.
Kari, could I add about what I think the state has done a really good job with is managing COVID in this environment? I mean, because we are such a low populous but large rural state, and because of a variety of different decisions, I think we've handled COVID overall very well. As of today, there were only 4 COVID patients in the entire University of New Mexico Hospital, out of 500, there's not been a single transference of COVID from a patient to an employee, or employee to employee, or patient to patient in the UNMH. So I think they've done a very good job with their rules and regulations and handling that. So I think it's a safe environment to work in, and lots of potential.
Guys,
Thanks for having us.
that is your time. Thank you so much. I have to say, I'm impressed with how many of are here from your program. That's pretty daggone cool. So kudos to you guys for that.